Hey, one more thing before you go. This took us 4 tries to do this, by the way. So thank you all for being here. We really appreciate it. This is one more thing before you go over the teacup Sunday. Today we are actually having a third co-host, our daughter Nicole. Hi, Nicole.
Hello.
She's joining us today because, obviously, as we all know, a somber day yesterday when we lost Matthew Perry. He was somebody that we have admired and watched and had been entertained by and loved for a really long time. Actually, Diane and I, way before friends. So
Yeah.
today's show is going to be a little bit of a tribute to Matthew Perry, along with what we loved about his characters and his movies and about friends and what he's doing to contribute back to the world, or what he did to contribute back to the world in regard to his book and what he was trying to do to help people. So, welcome to the show. Hi, Nicole. Hi, Diane.
Hello.
Hi.
Nicole, thank you for joining us today. I know that we're bringing you in because obviously you loved Matthew Perry in Friends. You pretty much cite every word from every episode and everything that exists about Friends. And yeah, we were kind of devastated last night when we saw the news that Matthew Perry died at the age of 54 years old, which is really young. And yeah, we're going to miss him.
Yeah.
I'm already crying.
Uh-oh.
Uh,
Well, I know along with others that are trying to show their respect and to kind of really delve upon what a brilliant comedic actor this individual was. He also was a person that was very troubled, but a person that tried to take his troubles and his trials and tribulations and try to help other people move forward through theirs as well with his own experiences, because he had a 30-year addiction of drugs and alcohol, which is a very long time for
mhm.
that to take place. And in between, a lot of us did not even know that he was having these kind of issues and so forth. So, you know, let's, I mean, I far back as I remember, I think the first time that I had seen him was on a show with Valerie Bertinelli called Sydney.
Mm.
That's the first
Yeah.
thing I remember of him. But I think, Diane, you saw him before that, didn't you? Because you said, oh, I
No,
love this guy.
actually, I thought I had, but I think it's because I had seen something a long time ago. They showed the pilot for this other show that he had
Yeah.
possibly they didn't pick up the pilot, so I had just seen it on another show. But there was a show he was supposed to be. He was actually connected to, like he was the deal they had with him is he was not going to be able to do anything else until this show was decided upon. And it was a really stupid show. And he really hated it. And then the Friends script came along. It was called, I think the actual name of the script was Friends Like Us or something. It wasn't
Hmm.
Friends.
Yeah, it's friends like us.
Yeah. And it was going around Hollywood, and he got a hold of it and was like, okay, yeah, this is me. I want this part. I want this role. And they weren't going to let him out of it because this pilot, which was about baggage handlers in the future, um, was still they didn't know if it was going to go or not, and he was
Yeah.
locked into that.
And,
But anyway, there's an interview that we found today. It was done by the Canadian Broadcast Company, and I don't know when, but it wasn't. It was right after his book came out, I guess. So it hasn't. It's not that old of an interview. And he talks about that show, and he talks about how he got on, how he actually finally got to audition for Friends, and it's a great story. And it has
I'll
to do
put a
with
link to it. I mean, I don't think they'll mind if I put a link to it in the show notes
I
so everybody can
don't
go
think
check
they
it
would
out.
mind.
But
Yeah.
in that conversation, I see a quote from him where he talked about in Perry's memo or memoir, excuse me, in his memoir, he wrote, "When I read the script for Friends Like Us, it was as if somebody had followed me around for a year. I was Chandler,
Yeah. Yeah. He
and
knew it.
yeah, you know it. And obviously, we all know that sometimes when one door closes, one door opens. And
Yeah.
we're all, I mean, we're happy. I can't imagine anybody else being Chandler Bing.
I was just thinking
No.
that same thought. No one else could have been Chandler.
No, I mean, was he your favorite character in Friends, Nicole?
Yeah, 100%.
Mine
He's
too.
very much like me. He's uncomfortable and awkward and uses comedy and jokes and sarcasm to get through. And he like one of the episodes, he's like, "I'm not good with the feelings. Can I interest you in a sarcastic comment?"
Yeah.
Like that's me.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I have, in common with him too. I haven't talked about it much, but um I've been sober for 3 years and like almost 3.5 years. Almost 3 years, 6 months. November 1st will be wow. In a few days, it'll be 3 years and 6 months.
Woohoo!
Woohoo!
Wow.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I would do
Um,
the sound effects, but I can't find them.
that's okay because when you did find him before, we couldn't get him to stop. So,
That's
yeah.
true.
So what I have in common, I mean, I just loved him for so many years, decades. I've loved him, and
Yeah,
I'm
and the
so
ironic part is, and Nikki, you probably didn't know this because I don't remember when that show was on. When Sydney was on, see, I grew up and had a crush on Valerie Bertinelli. So
yeah.
when Valerie Bertinelli was in this show with Matthew Perry, you went, "Oh, yeah, he's cute. I think I like
I
him,"
like,
and you ended up with a crush on Matthew Perry. So
yeah,
we enjoyed that show because it had my crush and your crush,
yeah,
and we even married. It's okay, Nicole. Even married people have crushes too. We allow
yes.
that.
I'm 31. I know.
But yeah, it was kind of interesting. So we fell in love with it then too. But then at the same time, though, back then I think I heard rumors the reason they couldn't do the show at times was because of his addiction issues or his alcohol issues. Um,
That they couldn't do Sydney.
yeah, they couldn't film a couple of different times because he,
I had not heard that.
yeah. So,
Huh.
but I think they attributed it to the fact that hey, here's a new kid on the block. He'd been in some things here and there, but he was in Who's the Boss with
Hmm.
Yeah.
Alyssa
Alyssa Milano.
Milano.
Alice Milano. Yeah,
Yeah.
and there was another one he was in
Well,
that.
he was actually in a movie with River Phoenix. I can't think of the name of it right now. Darn it. He was in a movie with River Phoenix prior to Friends.
It wasn't named, darn it.
No. I
But it's we're all. I mean, I'm happy, ecstatic that he got friends, and we watched him one of actually some of my favorite movies that I've ever watched. Matthew
Oh,
Perry
whole nine
belonged to
yards.
the whole
Yeah.
9 yards, the whole
Yeah.
in 9.5 yards.
Hmm.
It brilliant. Nobody else could have played that part, but Matthew Perry. I mean, it
Yeah.
was funny. It was great. It was intriguing, and you followed him along not just because we had seen him in Friends, because he shot those movies while he was on
Hmm.
hiatus from Friends, but
Right.
because he was great. That's who he was. It was that was the that was the part. Same
Yeah.
thing with us. Is it Three to Tango
Three to Tango, um,
with Selma
with
Hayek?
Blair. I think well that was one with Selma Blair.
Oh,
But
that was it.
then the one with Selma Hayek was I just had it a few minutes ago and it's gone.
Yeah, we're real big Matthew Perry fans.
Welcome to no, it's called Old Age. And I shouldn't I mean I'm Matthew's age. I'm 54 and it happens all the time. So
Well, it just it's another thing that we learned, and I did not know this up until that interview actually, that Matthew Perry had something in common with Michael J. Fox. They both are the only two to date that had a hit sitcom and a hit movie at the same time.
that they were both number one. Number one
Both number
TV
one,
show, number one
number
movie.
one movie at the same, not at the same, not at the same exact time. Well, yeah, it was kind of the same time because they said that.
No, no, because
No,
he said in this interview he was in ninth grade when when
Michael
uh
J. Fox.
Back to the Future was out. Yeah,
But
which I
yeah,
thought,
still,
What was the
I,
show for Michael J. Fox?
huh?
What was the show for Michael J. Fox?
Spin.
Family Ties.
Oh, Family
Oh,
Ties.
50
Yeah,
Times.
Um, but when he said that he was in ninth grade, of thought back because we're the same age, and I was not in ninth grade when I was like, that was more like 10th or 11th grade, I think. But anyway, um,
Maybe Canada's different.
I thought he was a year younger than you.
okay, yeah, he just turned 54 in August, and I'll be 55. So yeah, yeah, whatever.
Not to point that
Old.
out.
The whole point is I'm old. Okay,
Not
we
to
got
point that out.
it. But anyway, yeah, he's oh god, it's just so sad.
I know. The second that I saw it, I called my mom's phone because, I mean, her and I are like the bigger Friends fans. Like, obviously, Dad, you're a Friends fan, but um, I called and she was just bawling her eyes
Already,
out, like
already,
already crying.
and
Well,
and I
I
knew when you called too. I was like, oh, Nikki, I know. And,
I
anyway,
had a friend text me saying, like, "Did you hear Matthew Perry died? I know you love Friends. Are you okay?"
Yeah, it's really
I'm good.
sad. I mean, I know that he had a, and disclaimer here, and I'm obviously growing up with two dysfunctional parents who were alcoholics. Um, I will say this out loud, I'm he was found. The original call was something along the lines of a cardiac arrest, and when they showed up, they found Matthew in a hot tub. And apparently, he had played earlier that day. He had played like 2 hours worth of pickleball,
yeah,
and then he had gone to lunch, and then he came home. Um, the the cardiac arrest call when they got there, he was accidental drowning.
hmm
Whether it be he had the heart attack and then slipped under the water, whatever the case may be, they're still investigating that. But they have emphasized, and I'd like to say this on this program, that he did not have any illicit drugs on him, around him, or in the house.
right,
He did have prescription medications that he was on in the house,
yeah,
but none of them were opioids. They were like
yeah,
for COPD, they were for anxiety, they were for depression, and
mm,
things like this. So, that is a positive thing because he had been 18 months sober.
hmm
He said on this press junket for his book, and it has been a battle with him for 30 years. And he had spent close to, his words, he had spent close to $9 million trying to beat that addiction. And when he finally came to a culmination where he was able to work through his demons a little bit more, and that's how the book came about. That his, like you said earlier in the start of the show, his desire, and he put it out there that if anybody needs to
hmm
talk, I'm available for you. Just because I'm a star doesn't mean that you can't reach out to me if you're in the position that I was in.
right,
And he left himself open for that, which I thought was admirable. And the fact that he
absolutely.
recognized that, the book was like cathartic for him.
Yeah.
hmm
Allowed
I
him to
also
get.
read somewhere today or something that he would go to court with like random people,
Yeah,
and I forget what it's called, like a
drug court.
yeah, but he would like be there and help them, and just random people, not celebrities,
hmm
just help them, like
People
that
that
big
were
of
in
a
trouble
star.
with that. So he actually was trying to turn his life around. And yes, although we all remember him from Friends because it made him a star, made him who he is, gave him the means to fight the addiction that he had fought because he may not have been able to fight that addiction if he didn't have the means that he achieved through that notoriety in that show. It
Yeah,
gave him the opportunity to take that, put it into words in a book, and then to
hmm
take that and put it to work for other people, which I think was really starting to help him. That's what's really sad about this,
Yeah,
because he was on a path to helping other people, and he was enjoying doing that. He felt needed again, and that I think we heard in that interview, and it's in his book as well. He was always nurturing for his mother's love, always for his mom to stop and turn around and notice him and to look at him. He's yearning for that, yearning for, even throughout his life. The reason he became a comedian was because he was looking for people to, hey, look at me, take notice of me, and see me the way I am. So,
yeah, and maybe I mean I'm just speculating here, completely speculating, but I wonder if part of that was him wanting people to notice what he was going through, even though
yeah. And
it's all
acknowledge it.
about, yeah, even though the disease is all about secrets and being secretive and not letting anybody know. I mean, that's the whole thing of it. You know, that's when I finally stopped, is because I had realized that for, you know, for some time, not a long time, but for some time, I was hiding it from you, you know, which was hard to do living with a cop. Let me just tell you, not
I
easy
had
to
my
do,
suspicions.
to hide the drinking. Um, but that's when I realized it. So it's a disease of secrets. And maybe, again, speculating only, that maybe part of why he always wanted the attention and wanted somebody to, you know, notice me, notice me, notice me, was because he wanted the
Like a
help.
cry for help, yeah.
He didn't know. He didn't even know
Yeah,
himself that he was doing that for that
they were
reason.
doing it. Yeah.
Well,
You
I
know.
mean, I've seen Friends so many times. Like I know every episode by heart. But it wasn't until his interview with Diane Sawyer that when he said when he was really skinny in Friends, that's when he was addicted to drugs, and when he was really like he got bigger, that's when he was addicted to alcohol. And I never like
Yeah.
I didn't put two
Yeah.
and two together until he actually said that, and it's
Yeah.
like now that I do, when I do watch it, I'm just like, oh dang, like
And
Yeah.
I watched him in another interview with Diane Sawyer when he was doing the book again. We bought the book, by the way, the audiobook. Prior to this, we bought the audiobook
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
of his journey. But I know that he was saying that he didn't watch the episodes of Friends because when he started watching it, he had to acknowledge he saw when he was, how do you put it? He saw when he was on cocaine, when he was on alcohol, when he was on opioids, when he was on Vicodin, when he was on alcohol again. Then he saw the progression in which what he was on each time.
Mhm.
This one was alcohol. This one was Vicodin. This one was, hydrocodone. This other one was cocaine. He and then back to alcohol, and he acknowledged it. So he said, I wasn't watching the shows because I could see myself on the yo-yo,
Mhm.
on the roller coaster, up and
And
down,
it
up and down.
that it would be very hard to look at yourself in the in those ways. I mean,
You have to look yourself in the mirror.
I wouldn't want to do that. That
Yeah,
for sure. You know,
but
I can think at different times for myself, and I cringe, like cringe. I, I no. Would I want to see that?
yeah.
Absolutely not. No way.
Well, the on a positive note, on a funny note, I think that Friends would not have been Friends without Matthew
Oh,
Perry. And
absolutely not. Mm-mm. It wouldn't have been the same without any of them.
no, but I
You know.
mean,
But
I respect the fact that the Friends, those Friends, that Friends family stayed together, and that Jennifer, he said that these are his words. Jennifer Aniston, would check on him all the time to see how he was doing. She actually was the first one to confront him on set about his addiction and
yeah,
urged him to get help. And then she followed him through that, which I think is very admirable from that perspective. But
absolutely.
you know, um,
I haven't seen
it's
any of them make statements yet. Have you?
they did
No,
collectively. They've
they,
made something
they,
collectively.
They
It
oh,
did.
was
I
put
didn't.
out. Yeah, it was put out on the official Friends site, and it said that they will release individual stuff when they feel the time is right.
Okay.
But they did a
I think,
collective one.
you know, one right after we heard, you know, I immediately thought of his dad. Um, I don't know why I didn't think of his mom. I You don't really hear much about his mom, except now that we're seeing these interviews and he's talking about his problems, he kind of brings up his mom. So you
Yeah.
know, hope she's doing okay. Um, but then I immediately went to all the rest of the other five. The other five, I just was like, oh,
Well,
I
I,
know.
even the
devast-
the creators,
yeah,
Marta
Marta Kaufman.
Kaufman and
they put out a huge statement in
Yes, they
regard
did.
to that. That they're going to miss his. To me, I mean, the last time I felt this bad about, I mean, you guys both know I love the movies. I love TV. I love every aspect of it.
we all
The
do.
last time I felt this bad about losing somebody was Robin Williams.
Yeah,
Mine was Bob Saget, but
I
Robin
did too.
Williams before that. because I religiously watched Full House over and over and over again too. So Bob Saget was the last one because I was totally accidental, random shock too. And then Robin Williams, like, you just don't expect it from someone who was always so happy and so
or seemed to be,
funny.
right?
Seemed to be, yeah. But
I mean, they
I
say
think
most comedians
when
are
it's so
depressed.
random and so accidental, and it's just even worse.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they
What
say
would you
most comedians are depressed, and that's the
Yeah.
Yeah, but I
reason
mean, with
they're.
like Matthew Perry and Bob Saget, like they were so random and just accidental things.
Well, and it's unfortunate because Matthew Perry found pickleball, as
Yeah.
everybody's probably heard already through some of the news agencies, but he found that as an outlet, and he fell in love with it. I guess he built a room on his house that was dedicated specifically to pickleball,
Mm-hmm.
and unfortunately, they may come to find out that playing 2 hours of pickleball and going home and sitting in a hot tub might be the cause of what happened, which I'm kind of sad about.
Yeah. I mean, because he was trying to. I mean, they say exercise. I mean, that's I'm doing that now. I'm finally working out regularly. Um, it is. It's an outlet. It's an outlet
Yeah,
for just feeling better. And he was doing I mean, that's really the right thing to do.
yeah.
That's like one of the best things you can do for yourself when you're going through something, or trying to keep your demons away. It's a really good thing to do, but maybe not 2 hours of it at one time. I mean,
Yeah.
maybe it was
Well,
just
his heart was probably super weak too from all of the drugs and
30.
stuff. So.
Well, to 2022, and this is just public information as well, but in 2022, he
was it
actually ended
2020?
up, yeah, it was 2022. He went into
Wow.
the hospital with a burst colon because of his
Mm-hmm.
opioid use. And the
Yep.
doctors actually told his parents, his family, that he had like a 2% chance of living. And he was in a coma for a little while. And it wasn't very public. They really kept it under wraps quite well, actually.
Mhm.
But in reality, that was maybe a year or less ago. I don't remember what time
Right.
they said of the
Right.
year was 2022, but it's 2022. So, in reality, it wasn't that long ago. So,
No. And
it's
he
a,
said in this interview that you're going to have in the show notes, he talked about that time, and he said that there was 10 people, including himself, that over that time period that were on the breathing machines. He named the machine. It's the machine that keeps you alive. Um, I don't remember the name. So
ventilator.
no, it,
I,
it, it was an actual, like, the person that designed it name or something.
mm.
Anyway, it's in the interview. But he said that, including himself, there were 10 people over that time period that were on them, and the other nine didn't make it.
So he
Because
was
when they,
still here he was here to write his book.
right, right. And because he said this machine, they do it at I mean, they only do it when there's nothing left to do. And typically, it doesn't help, it doesn't work. But for
Yeah,
him, it did.
Mm-hmm.
So if
give
you
himself a
haven't
chance.
to the audience, if you have not gone out and gotten his book, go get his book, because obviously it was meant to be.
Well, and we got the audio book, and
Mhm.
he narrates it himself. So
Oof.
you hear it in his words.
Nope.
Um, from that
Yeah.
perspective. But sometimes, Nikki, you got to honor people that were part of your life in some form or another. And I know that he was a part of our life. I mean, we've got the Blu-ray complete season Blu-ray Friends
Hmm.
Collection.
package.
Hmm.
You know, and we watch it. We still watch the reruns now, and
I
still
don't.
laugh at the same reruns,
I don't
even
know. I
though
don't know if how soon I'm gonna be able to watch again.
well,
Oh, I
we
I
watch reruns that we know what's going to happen, and we still laugh.
oh yeah.
Well, it does help being the age that we are, though, as you know, Nikki, that we're like, because you brought it up before. You bring up, hey, remember the episode? And I really I'm like, no, I don't. So I watch it. It's like, oh, it's like brand new to me. That's
Yeah.
awesome. No,
I think I've watched it a lot more than you guys have, though.
probably.
Like, as I watched it when it was on, but I was like 10. I think I was like
No,
10 when it went off air.
you
And
were,
then
well, like when they started, you were 4. No, you were
2.
2 when it
Yeah.
started.
That's
So
probably
I
why.
watched it on like live, and then I watched it on the DVDs and the Blu-rays and HBO Max and all of it.
TBS.
That's
Yeah.
PBS,
probably
like if I'm in a hotel room, that's what's coming on.
that's probably why you know it word for word, because laying there as a baby, you just took it all in.
Yeah. I might not know math and science very well, but if
Your
you
first,
need me for friends trivia,
You know that. Yeah.
what's your
And
what's your what's your
your
favorite line from Friends, Nikki?
all of Friends?
oh, too hard.
I mean, I
Pick.
do like the one that I said earlier. I'm not great with feelings. Can I just you in a sarcastic
I,
comment?
I seem to
Yeah.
think those were the first words out of your mouth. It wasn't mom or dad.
Oh, it was that whole line.
Yeah, I'm not great with feelings,
Yeah.
Hmm.
but
I don't think that episode had aired yet, but sure.
Okay, we'll go with it. Yeah. There's so many different episodes to love, but
I know. And it is one of those shows where you can watch it over and over again and you still laugh at it. Like, I just rewatched Schitt's Creek for the second time, and it wasn't as funny as it was
the
before, but
first
I
time.
could go back to Friends and still completely crack
still
up.
left. Well, that's what we're saying. Yeah. In fact, I just watched the other day. I watched the one of my favorite episodes. I watched the one where they were eating the cheesecake, and
Hmm.
then ended up in the hallway, and
They're
Joey
just
comes
eating
in,
it off
and
the floor.
they're eating off the floor, and you think
Yeah.
Joey's all going to be judgmental, and he just
Yeah.
reaches in his pocket and pulls out
Pulls
a
out
Pulls
a
out-
fork. Like, who carries a fork around
You know. And he
for
sits down and he goes,
occasions?
what are we having?
Yeah. What are we having?
Just for occasions like that.
Well,
That's
And
funny.
honestly, like Chandler and Monica's relationship is much more goals than Ross and Rachel. Like everyone was all Ross and Rachel, but they were on and off and toxic and blech.
yeah.
And Monica and
True.
Chandler started as friends and then just completely fell in love, and they had no toxicity and they loved each other and they were beautiful, and that is goals.
That's true. That's
What's your
very true.
favorite episode with What's your favorite episode with Chandler?
Of
I've got
all
two
of
favorites.
Friends, you're
Sure.
killing me. You're killing me, Smalls. Um,
Diane, you better start thinking of yours.
No, I know mine. Well,
I don't think
uh,
it's my favorite, but I do like the
Vegetable.
vestibule one where he gets trapped with a model and
Oh, I
like
love that one. Yes, that's one
he
of my
gives him
favorites.
gum and he's trying to blow a bubble. He just
Yeah,
spits the whole
spits the
wad
gum
out.
out. That's one of my. I just told your mother that.
yeah, you did.
Just told her that. I said one of my favorite ones I remember is that one in particular. That's one of
Well,
my favorites.
and for me, well, there's just all of them, but for you can't when you think of, especially when you think of Chandler and Monica, you cannot not think of the proposal episode.
Oh my god!
I
I
mean,
still
I
cry
cry
every time I cry.
every single time. I am a bawling mess. Ugh, yes. So
No. And
yeah,
Monica tries to start the proposal, but then she starts crying and she's like, there's a reason why girls don't do this.
yeah,
And then he like finished it up.
That's funny. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. And we just named my two favorites: the cheesecake one and the vestibule
That's
one with the
you.
in the bank. And I cannot remember the model's name that was in there.
Jill, she married Harry Connick Jr. and I can't remember
Yeah,
her last, but her name's Jill.
yeah. It's funny. He's talking to on the corner on the phone. And he's trying to get
Yeah.
what am I
You
going to say?
know. And then Joey, he gets Joey on the phone, and he totally knows what he's saying.
Yeah.
Uh, so good.
I just this year started being able to watch Williams movies again. So
Yeah, and now this.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he's welcomed into heaven with a large group of individuals that I'm sure welcomed him with open arms. You
Yeah,
guys have a favorite movie?
Whole 9 yards.
probably Whole Nine Yards. Yeah. I like the one with Selma Hayek too, but I can't remember the name of it. But I like it.
It's he was an architect, right? And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, he met her, and he was trying to do a building. He ends up following her down to Mexico
Mm.
um, because she took off and she was pregnant. Well, I don't want to give everything away. She
Yeah.
was pregnant. Well, it's an old
I think it's
movie.
probably been out in
Say it's
enough
an
time.
old movie.
It's
She was
old.
pregnant.
You're not spoiling it. They should
He
have seen
finds
it.
out, and and then when he gets down there, of course, all the guys. The funniest part about that is he ends up he ends up in the cactus, just loaded
Yeah.
with cactus. Um, what the hell do you call them? Cactus
Needles.
stickies, needles.
Fools
New
rush in.
concept, huh?
Huh?
Fools rush in.
Fools rush
It's an
in.
Fools.
Elvis song. We should know that.
Yeah,
Fools.
fools rush in.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was they have to carry him in, and he sat down in a whole thing of cactus, and yeah, it
Ugh.
was pretty funny.
Yeah. I
It was
mean,
I
good.
love it.
he was just good. He
I
was
love
just
in the
he.
whole 9 yards. Yeah. In the whole 9 yards when he walks into his room and Bruce Willis is there and he gets really scared all of a sudden and he turns around to run away and he runs into I forget his name. Michael something Green, something
Well,
Oh,
big guy.
he
he passed away.
Yeah,
he
he
passed
did.
Yeah,
But
he ran
he
into a
was
brick wall, basically.
brick
yeah,
wall.
and then he bounced off of him and into the lamp and fell down.
Yeah, it was funny.
Oh,
Very, very funny. So we
oh,
kind of, I was telling your mother, we kind of have a 6 degrees of separation, just a little bit, with the sequel to that, 9.5 yards. George Gallo wrote 9.5 yards, and George
Mm.
Gallo adopted a little bit of Bruce Willis's character adjustment in that movie to being at home and cooking and baking and cleaning and all this kind of a thing from a
after talking.
conversation we had after
Hmm.
me because I told him I went from being a cop arresting bad guys and getting in fights and taking drunks down and taking America's Most Wanted down to cooking and cleaning and taking the kids to school and everything else, and that was right before he wrote nine and a
Nine and a
half
half
yards.
yards. So
Mm.
we were never confirmed, but there were a lot of similarities.
Mm.
He was
And
taking notes.
he was taking notes when you were telling him.
We
So
were
I
talking
mean
to him.
that's what we
Yeah.
have right there. He never
I can
like
believe
said the word.
I can
Yeah.
believe it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was kind of funny. Took the big badass hitman, and hitman was at home baking and cleaning, and so it was kind of funny.
Mm.
But and of course the Selma Blair one was an amazing movie as well. Um, isn't that the one where
No, no, no,
the
no,
guy
no,
thought
no.
he was gay, so he said,
Hmm.
"I want you to take my girlfriend." He was married. Take my girlfriend to the art show,
Hmm.
and they end up falling in love.
Yeah.
I don't think I've seen that.
You haven't seen that
Yeah.
movie? You need to watch that movie, Nikki.
I haven't
I
seen
watched.
Fools Rush In either. All I remember is seeing Serving Sarah in the theaters, but I don't really remember what it's about. I just know that Elizabeth Hurley's in it,
Hmm.
and
Yes,
um,
yes,
there's something else, but I don't remember. But yeah,
yeah. Elizabeth Hurley, I think was his. Was that? That was his girlfriend.
I
Yes,
think
movie.
she was Sarah because he had to serve her like papers, like I don't know what they're
Yeah,
called. People
yeah,
are
yeah.
called, but and then he was like, "Wait, she's like real pretty," and then didn't.
Went from there, but yeah. So there's a lot of good memories that we can take with us even after he's gone, and hopefully um, the coroner is going to determine pretty quickly with what exactly happened. And I am praying and putting out to the universe that it's just going to be accidental and in an unfortunate situation, unfortunate accident that happened. And hopefully he's at rest and at peace now. And, maybe he can help people from up there.
Yeah.
I bet if he's able to, he's going to do that.
I would hope so too.
Yeah. Because that was what he said was his uh biggest accomplishment.
It was helping people, yeah. in spite of
helping
everything else.
helping people with addiction.
Well, I would say he almost became, well, he did become an expert at it. It cost him over $9 million, he said, to get clean and sober, which is
Yep.
a lot of money.
And not
You
just
know,
costing him money, but I mean,
health,
decades of his life of living like that.
his
Yeah.
health,
So,
everything else that went with it. But on a
Ugh.
very positive note, anything special that you want to remember, Nikki?
Um, I mean, just all the friends. He is Miss Chandler Bong.
Mr. Chandler
Miss
Bong?
Chandler Bong. That's the magazine that gets sent to his door, and it's addressed to Miss Chandler Bong.
Oh,
And you
Miss.
learn that in the episode where they're fighting for the apartment using a trivia game.
mhm.
You got it. Keep up. Come on.
Oh,
Get to
that's
my
funny.
level.
See, what you need to do, Nicole, is to come out, spend about 4 days with us, and then we just do a friends marathon because I have that whole thing of Blu-rays that we bought years ago that hasn't even
Even
been
been
opened.
opened.
Well, it's on HBO Max. Save those and keep them unopened, and then maybe there'll be a lot of money one day.
Maybe.
Oh, brilliant! Thank you, daughter. You just went from daughter number 2 to daughter number 1.
Jeez. Oh God. Anyway, so what I will remember him most for, obviously Friends, but just the fact that he finally came to a point in his life that um, he worked hard to get there, and it was a positive thing, and that he was helping people, and that's what he wanted to be remembered for more than anything. So
I agree with you. I'm going to remember the laughter. I'm going to remember the entertainment. I'm going to remember the happy, the the smiles. I'm going to remember how he made me feel when I watched his movies. How he made me feel every time I watch an episode of Friends, and I'm going to remember that as well as the
mhm.
fact that he dedicated to the rest of his life to trying to help others who were in need, especially those that followed the same path as his.
Yeah.
So, Diane, any last thoughts?
I think that there's a lot of actors and actresses that can make me laugh, but I don't think there's another one out there that could make me laugh like he could. He was just one of a kind.
I agree. Nicole, any last thoughts?
Um, if you feel like you have addiction issues to alcohol or drugs or anything, there's always someone who will help. So
Yes.
talk to anyone and
Mhm.
get the help you need.
Yeah. As he said in this interview that we're going to link, he said, just raise your hand.
Yep.
Raise your hand.
Those are some amazing last words. Yes, thank you very much for saying both of those. I agree with both of them. And I will make sure that Nicole, thank you for bringing up what you did. I'll make sure that in the show notes, there'll be some resources for those people who are reaching out and wanting some help as well. Well, thank you everyone out there for listening and for watching. One more thing before you go, we appreciate each and every one of you. If you love the show, please like and subscribe. And then don't forget to come back each and every Wednesday as well for a fantastic opportunity to get educated, motivated, and inspired. We have some great conversations coming up actually over the next several months. So
Mhm.
please stay tuned. And one more thing before you all go, have a great day, have a great week, and thank you for listening.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to this episode of One More Thing Before You Go. Check out our website at beforeyougopodcast.com. You can find us as well as subscribe to the program and rate us on your favorite podcast listening platform.